even though sealed product is still super expensive and really difficult to find, now is the best time to be picking up a lot of single cards to either be added into your collections or to grade and turn a profit potentially as well. And that's the thing right now. Scarlet and Violet era cards are falling like crazy, and now is a great time. And I like times like this because I can look at picking up some bargains and potentially get cards graded, get cards I want to fill out my binders, and just especially my collections. Right, for me, I'm trying to get every single illustration rare in the Scarlet and Violet era. I have a folder that I want to get every single one. Black Bottom White Flare is going to absolutely wreck me. But we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. So today we'll be going through a whole bunch of cards and going through why I think these are great pickups to get right now. So let's get into it. Okay, we're on PokeJace.io today. The first one we're looking at is the Pokemon Center Eevee from Prismatic. Now, here's the interesting one. I actually have an absolute crap ton of these because I bought a lot of Pokemon Center ETBs. Now, some of them I did actually open. And at the time, a lot of people thought I was crazy because I was opening up Pokemon Center ETBs, the promos and the packs and stuff like that, and they got reprinted, and look what happened. They fell quite heavily. So now the cards have dropped quite a bit, right? And I think now's a great time to pick them up anyway if you do want to get them, or if you don't have them. Fantastic cards anyway. So we can see here what the raw price of the cards are. So if we look at the graph, we get rid of the PSA cards at the moment, and we can see what's been going on, right? So TCG Player is in the orange, slightly above the average market price, and now they're pretty much neck and neck at $60. It did actually peak at one point at $150 on TCG Player, and then the restocks happened, and a lot of people opened up their Pokemon Center ETBs, and that's what's happened. And a lot of them have been graded, and in a 10 it has fallen as well. So we get rid of the raw price, we look at the PSA price. Look at that. PSA 10 is just been free falling like crazy. Now, I actually sent some off to get graded. Now, when I went and picked mine up, it was pretty much when the set came out. We were looking pretty much, not around there, but I would say when I sent mine off, I actually sent mine off probably around about April was when I finally sent mine. So they were about $500 at the time, and since then they've dropped by nearly $250 in value. Look, I think it's a great time, all right? We've seen a lot of Pokemon Center ETB promos, go up over time. Charmander is a prime example, Snorlax, and so on and so forth. Eevee, big fan favorite. Prismatic as well. I mean, I don't see probably not any more Pokemon Center ETBs. Normally ETBs, maybe, but Pokemon Center ones, I think it'll be a little bit tougher. So this one could be one to look out for because it has dropped quite heavily. Next up, we've got the Mew promo. This one's from the 151 UPC. This one is fantastic. I think anything 151 right now is pretty good. We've seen with the 151 UPC that's very expensive. It's like $330 or $340 or whatever it is. And this promo is still relatively cheap if you want it raw, right? We're looking around about $30 for it raw. And if we look at that raw price, it has gone up slightly, but it's been pretty stable for the longest time. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's the PSA price that really excites me on this one. If we look here at the PSA price, if we look at a PSA 9 and 10, we can see here that PSA 10 went from $140 up to $300, and then it's trickled down a little bit down to $250, which is still very, very good if you do get in a 10. Not the easiest in a 10. A lot of this card has been graded, but still, this is definitely one to look out for. Which I think is pretty good, right? I think that it's going to get harder and harder to get hold of these, especially good condition ones, so be careful trying to get them. And then we've got the Mewtwo to kind of like go side by side with the Mew as well. Same from the UPC promo. We've got, $18, pretty cheap, really. If we look at the average raw price of this, let's look at, TCG Player. So we can see here, it's gone up over time, been pretty stable, trickling upwards slightly. Again, very appealing. In a 10, it goes for $180, which is very, very impressive. So that one there has gone up over time. Dipped a little bit from its all-time high, but still worth quite a bit of money. So keep an eye out for this one, because this one could be a good cheap one that you can get for under $20. And if that's potential to get a 10, you're doing really well. Okay, next up, we got a bunch here. We got Fuecoco. These are going to be going through the Paldea Revolt starter Pokemon. So first is the Fuecoco. This one is a very, very good one. And the reason why I picked this is because star Pokemon, really. These are beautiful artworks. And as a rule, star Pokemon tend to be good fan favorites. When we look at the value of this one, has actually dipped recently. Paldea Revolt getting more and more expensive. hard to get hold of, not the easiest pull rates, especially when it comes to the illustration rares, because there's so goddamn many in the set. So it's tough to get the ones you want. But then in a PSA 10, we're looking at $200, which is very, very good. And is something to look out for, right? It has dipped from its all-time high at $250. So this one has that good potential, sitting around $20, has gone up as well. Paldea Vault is getting hard to get hold of. Booster boxes are pretty expensive. So this one does appeal to me, and starter Pokemon do really well. Same with the Sprigatito. This one is my favorite out of the three. This one here is absolutely gorgeous. So if we look at this one, when we get rid of the PSA and we look at just in the raw price, pretty stable if you can see across the board there. I mean, it has gone up, like raw price 6 months ago was around $13. Now we're looking around roughly around 20. TCG player being a little bit more than the average market price, which is kind of obvious. Then we look at PSA 10, still really good for PSA 10 at $150. And it's pretty stable, which is really good to see. So this one is very, very interesting. Between this one and the Frey Coco is worth a little bit more in that PSA 10, but both very, very good cards. And then we've got the Quaxley, which is much on the cheaper scale. So this one could be another good one to get if you get all three for that collection. And I think a lot of people would be after that collection, especially in PSA 10s. So again, Paldea Vault, very expensive, tough pull rates. But this is by far the cheapest of the three. We're looking at under $10 for this one raw. So if you've been eyeing up potentially getting this one, now could be a good time. At one point it was about $13 on TCG Player. Again, has come down, which is really, really good to see. But then when we look at that PSA 10 price, still, I mean, $92 isn't that bad. I mean, for some reason it was up there at $180 at one point. But compared to the other two, it is the cheaper of the three. But if you want all three, that was a really good time. Now we're going to the Sword and Shield era. I've got the Celebrations Charizard. Now I've picked this one mainly because we're coming up to the 30th anniversary, and I think things from Celebrations could see some real big gains. And of course, a card like the Big Boy Zard is a very, very appealing one. And let's look at the raw price of this one to begin with. So raw price, it has been somewhat stable over the past 6 months. 6 months ago, we were around about 77 to 95, and now it's neck and neck at 95. So in some respects, the average market price has actually gone up over time. Again, we're looking at graded prices, and this one's doing relatively well, pumping its way through. I mean, it was 200, and now we're looking at over 250, which is very, very appealing. So I think this one's good, even though it's been graded so heavily. There's over 26,000 in a PSA 10, which is wild, by the way. I do feel like the Charizard will be a very, very sweet one as well. So keep an eye out for Charizard. Celebrations is getting more expensive, a little bit tough to get hold of. So keep an eye out for the Charizard. And I think we could see some increases. It's the OG artwork, and people really do like it. So keep an eye out for the Zardy Boy. Okay, on to a tag team promo. This is the Pikachu and Zekrom. Tag team cards have seen a real big boom recently. Last year we saw a big tag team alt art boom. Now we're just seeing anything tag team boom. And this is a promo which is pretty cool. This one you do get in a collection box. Collection box isn't the cheapest now. It's getting a bit more pricey, but this is a banging card. I mean, we're looking at $20 here. We look at the raw price of this one, and look at that. I mean, TCG Player, talk about market manipulation and a half. I mean, look, the average market price went from $7 up to now $20. Whereas look at TCG Player. At one point, it was like 12 to 22, and here it was 18 to 31. So yeah, it's nice to see they're a little bit more back to normal now, rather than these two weird spikes here. But that is one to keep an eye on. It is getting more and more expensive, and it is a pretty sweet looking promo. In a PSA 10, we've seen huge gains. I mean, going from $50 up to $130 is bonkers. So keep that in mind. This is a beautiful card. A lot of people like Zekrom, right? Zekrom, obviously, for the black and white stuff that's coming out. Tag team seeing a boom. Keep an eye out for this promo. It is nice. Sun and Moon promos have been going through the roof recently. One example is the Legendary Birds promo, which has just been going to the absolute moon, which is very surprising. Then we got the Zardy Boy from Lost Origin. This is the Trainer Gallery one. And this one I think will do very well in the future. I mean, already it's doing pretty well anyway. But when we look at this raw price of this Zardy Boy, it has been going up. Lost Origin getting more and more expensive. You're looking at pushing towards $500 a booster box. It is a very, very impressive set. And this isn't the easiest card to pull. They do have okay pull rates, but Trainer Gallery slots can be quite tricky. So this one here, raw, went from $6 and now we're going up to nearly double in value, so around nearly that $12 mark. TCG Player was a little bit more than the market, but they kind of leveled out eventually, which is pretty good. But look at that in a 10. Bearing in mind, this has always been a somewhat cheap card. Going for 1.160. Okay, it's dipped down a little bit to now 100, but still, that's very, very impressive. Amazing artwork. I've always liked this one, and it's always been a nice card to pull in a Lost Origin. But I think now is a good time to get one if you don't have one. And then finally today we'll be looking at the Pikachu, also from Lost Origin, one of my favorite trainer gallery cards in the whole of the Sword and Shield era. This one's absolutely gorgeous. And this one here, let's look at the raw price. Now I was picking these up for around about £5 to £6 each back in the day. And now we're looking at, it's from $6, did reach $17. Now it's dropped down a little bit to 13. Very, very good. Absolutely adorable card. And again, same with the Charizard. Getting tougher to get hold of, more expensive, so keep an eye out. But when we look at the graded card version, 150 in a 10. I mean, we look at the Zardy boy. Zardy's only 100. This one, even though it's dipped, I mean, at one point it was $200 in a PSA 10. So keep that in mind. Huge difference between the 9 and the 10 here. So if you can get one in a 10, absolutely fantastic. If you can get one in a 3, you're an absolute boss. But overall, no, really, really cool card, and I do think it's a good one to pick up. Especially Lost Origin, get more and more expensive. There you have it, guys. Those are some great cards you look to pick up right now. I think there's just so many, right? There's just so many cards. I can't cover them all in the video. I will be doing more cards and more videos covering more cards across different generations, so you guys can know what are good pickups here and there and know what the prices are, especially when it comes to the raw and especially the graded prices. I picked up a lot of cards recently this year to grade, and I've been focusing on grading a whole bunch of cards, so keep that in mind. But overall, it's been, really interesting to see a lot of these cards fall in value, because now's a great time to pick them up. And we've seen them continuously go up in value as well. So, you don't want to kind of miss out on that potential growth, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, it's really good to pick up cards right now. I think picking up single cards is probably one of the best ways of getting things right now, just because cracking packs and getting hold of sealed product is an absolute nightmare. People turn into singles and graded cards. So now's a really good time to get the stuff that you want for collections, or to grade, or to invest, or whatever you choose to do in the future. But I think these ones will climb in the future. It'll be interesting to see how well they will perform. If you found this fun the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. And guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments regarding all of these amazing cards. Which one's your favorite from today? If I had to go with any today, that was my favorite. I do really like that Sleeping Pikachu. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's just adorable across the board. But I actually like the Sprigatito. It's a very, very cool star Pokemon. Star Pokemons are very, very awesome. And fan favorites. But that's it from me, guys, in today's video. If you want more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen, and of course make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.